You know him. You love him. Huge penis Lovecraft. The the father of weird fiction.
Yep.
I mean, really, he's not. There was other people before him, but he's the guy everybody remembers.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody was like, suddenly there's. It's kind of like nowadays, really, with H.P. Lovecraft. Like, nobody liked him.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, I'm a super fan.
I was always a fan.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, where were you when he was alive and struggling to live?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm over here being his kin.
What? Oh, I forget that your face is not real.
Nope.
The one
fake.
underneath is just a void.
Yeah.
An empty void.
It's actually an improvement, this one.
Yeah. Anyway, today we saw the man himself as he returned from his long slumber, and indeed has a huge penis. But he did bring some gifts. He was bearing gifts, and one of those was this old ditty,
Yeah.
Stuart Gordon's adaptation of Shadows Over Innsmouth, basically. Only it's called Dagon.
For some reason. Yeah.
Which is a confusing title because there is an H.P. Lovecraft story called Dagon.
It's nothing like that.
It is and it isn't. The Dagon story is super short.
Yeah.
And it's just a guy that gets washed up on it, or really wakes up on an island, a mysterious fucking island, and he comes across this altar and this creature, and, that's it, basically. So they kind of get that concept and just have our main characters wash up because of natural circumstances on the shores of a Spanish fishing village called Imboca, which, if you translate that to English, is Innsmouth. And that's really what the movie is. Shadows Over Innsmouth. With another name.
Yeah.
For some fucked reason.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Stuart Gordon, who was no stranger to the Lovecraftian. He being the director of the Reanimator movie starring Jeffrey Combs, and of course From Beyond, and Castle Freak and all that. So the Stuart Gordon, just Castle Freak.
I remember it. I never saw it.
Oh, you stink!
It's your fault.
It's not my fault.
I always saw
stink.
Well, that's a good
Anyway,
point.
scrub that shit. But anyway, yeah. Stuart Gordon loves Lovecraft.
Yeah.
He loves
His
Lovecraft's
craft.
love. I mean, what? Yes, craft. So the thing is, he always wanted to make a Shadows Over Innsmouth adaptation. It's just he never had the funds for it. Nobody ever really wanted to pursue it. And, so he just went on and did Robot Jocks instead. So that's a thing.
The robot.
But eventually the time came because his friend Brian Yuzna, who, produced a lot of his films, and himself as a director, in fact, directed the sequel to Reanimator, had this company set up in Spain with the intent and purpose of basically farming international talent and local talent in Spain to make genre movies for the international market. And for a few years, that's kind of what they did. And they produced some interesting fare, to say the least. They're called Fantastic Factory. And I really recommend you check out their output. It was no more than 20 movies. It was less than that, in fact. But very interesting stuff, to say the least. And among those was Dagon. He said, you know what? You get to do Shadows Over Innsmouth. The thing is, I'm just going to ignore that before I fucking stab you in the face. But anyway, he said, the time has come for you to make this. The catch being, you still don't have enough money to make it, basically. Yeah. But it was more than he was probably ever going to get. So there we go. We got it. And again, for some reason, called something completely different. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that flick right here. It was released from Vestron Video. It was just releasing all these, it's an imprint, releasing all these, cult type movies. I just got to point out that I don't know if it's my sound bar, because I have a sound bar. I don't have a surround sound system. Mm-hmm. But the sound on this thing is atrocious. It's fucking terrible. All you can hear is the environment. And it's always raining. So that's all you hear, basically. Or maybe I'm deaf. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're a little deaf, because I didn't have that issue that much. Except for when the old man comes in. At that point, I'm losing everything he's saying because of this environment.
Thick ass accent, really, not the environment. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's where I sit.
Maybe.
I do find that where I sit, I can't hear shit sometimes, but
Yeah, it is really loud.
it's an insanely loud environmental quality. And again, it's always raining, the seas around, you know. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I don't have a proper surround sound system. Who knows? But just if you haven't bought this, I mean, buy it because it's something you have to have if you're a fan of Lovecraft. But just be aware that may be an issue. Totally worth it. I mean, it's one of the few movies I paid full price for. It cost $34. You know, but it's just a movie I have to have. It's one of those essential Lovecraftian adaptations. So that kind of gives you a clue as to how I feel about this movie. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna get on my knees and blow it, because we don't do that around here. Well, sometimes we do.
Sometimes, yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's not a perfect movie. And, you know, just the fact that this had to be made on a budget gives you an inkling of an idea of why there's some issues with it, on top of other things. But let's talk about the movie as a whole. There's not a lot of good Lovecraftian explorations in film, and not a lot of faithful ones either. In fact, Stuart Gordon version of Reanimator is not very faithful to the story at all.
Oh, shit.
It just kind of takes a portion, really it cherry picks little things here and there to make a version of the story. I would argue even that Bride of Reanimator from Brian Yuzna is more faithful to Reanimator. It's just not a controversial stance, so I don't know why I'm getting the fucking peanut gallery over here.
Bringing the hot takes.
It's just a lot of people don't like Brian Yuzna, and I can't fathom why. He's created some of those weirdest and most original genre fare out there, and people give him the shaft and always blow Gordon. And I love Stuart Gordon. It's just, come on, guy, give Yuzna a little proper shake. And I'm giving him a shake here.
The Usemeister?
I think he directed a better Reanimator movie than Gordon did.
Damn.
Just saying.
I can't weigh in because I literally saw it when I was a fetus.
Yes, you did. But anyway, the point here is that Stuart Gordon wasn't exactly prone to keep to what was written in the source material, and that's fine because Lovecraft has a lot of limitations as well. His characters are razor thin usually,
wafer thin even,
and you know, it's more like an experience rather than an actual tale. There's a lot of floral verbiage being thrown around that it's really, you know, it's just great to read, but how do you translate that to the screen?
Yeah.
You don't. There's a visual medium there going on. So, yeah, Stuart Gordon is entitled to do that, and he did freely. From Beyond is a very short story, and literally the introduction to the movie of From Beyond
that was an actual story?
Yes.
I didn't even know.
I think he just made that up and said, this is H.P. Lovecraft From Beyond.
Well, apparently he did. Apparently he did.
No, I'm talking, you know, the source material. I mean, the influence here. But anyway,
but
the point is, the introduction to the story From Beyond. I'm sorry, the introduction to the movie is the story.
Yeah.
That's it. After that, he just made everything up.
There you go. That's what I was saying.
That's not what you were saying.
Yep.
I'm just gonna contradict you. To die like a flounder, flopping around on the decks.
Just because I smell like one doesn't mean I have
Hashtag flounder stank.
Yep.
But anyway, with Dagon, he took some liberties as well, but not as many as you would usually expect from him. This is pretty much Shadows Over Innsmouth. Pretty much. You know, there's a few cosmetic changes in the sense that, yes, this is not New England that is being explored here. It's fucking Spain. But if anything, that kind of makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
You know, there's a heavier tendency for the idea of a cult, actually being active there. You know, just the idea, the concepts fit more in line. You know, kind of an old world feel there versus something in New England.
Yeah.
And you know, the imagery, I just think it's much better suited to something like that. You know, something older and more rustic.
Yeah.
So I thought all that was fine, absolutely, if not better. No problem with that. Adding more characters instead of the singular character, a good idea, given that Lovecraft usually sticks to one, and they're pretty one-dimensional.
They're guys that exist.
Yeah, they're just guys that are seeing things, basically.
Yeah.
Although I will say that Shadows Over Innsmouth has a pretty action-packed feeling to it versus most of his other fare. So, you know, that is kept in line here. Only we get to experience it through other people as well. So that's plus. But anyway, the adaptation, though it has some deviations, those deviations are pretty much in line with what ideas that Lovecraft had fomented and kicked around. So it works. It works quite well, in fact. So let's talk about what doesn't work in contrast to that. Now I know you like this movie, just as I do, but you haven't read the source material, right? I don't think so. However, you are familiar with the Lovecraftian in a variety of senses. But I think we can agree that this movie is far from perfect. So give me something that you don't think hits the mark here.
Apparently the sound design, according to you.
Well, no, that has nothing to do with the actual movie. This is the fucking Blu-ray. But anyway, in terms of the film.
I don't know, dude. I can't think of anything, honestly. I just want to suck this movie off.
Stinky. I don't, so let's talk about that. Look, the acting is not great. All right, let's just be honest here. It's pretty bad. But you got to take what you get sometimes. The acting was pretty bad in Reanimator 2, and everybody blows that, but they kind of make a stink about the acting here. Come on, man. Yeah.
Is this movie hated secretly, and I just don't know?
No, the cult is very small, and people, especially within Lovecraft circles, are kind of like openly critical of it. And it's like, come on, man. What are your options? There's not a lot of them, and not a lot of people really want to care about it. And when they do, they simply fuck it up so bad that it's just unwatchable. This is very watchable, but there are flaws in it, and they mostly have to do with, again, the limitations of the production, not so much the quality of the film. So yeah, the acting's not great, but there are some good actors in it. The people of Mboka, oddly enough, are the most convincing things in this, in my opinion. They really convey weirdness, very apropos.
Yeah.
Ichthyoid weirdness. So yeah, man, they work pretty damn well. The town drunk, especially, who unfortunately died not long after this production ended. The priest, all that stuff. They all work very well here. And it's not like, oh, you're just saying that because you don't understand them because they speak in Spanish. We speak in Spanish, so we understand them. They do a pretty good job here. The lead, Ezra Godden, is worthy to mention because, again, not that he's great, but he really harkens back to Stuart Gordon's, heroes or anti-heroes, as it were, because not only does he look like Jeffrey Combs,
it's weird,
but he just kind of fits in that vibe. I wouldn't say he's a Jeffrey Combs by no means, but he just has the look is accompanied by something that just says this guy belongs in a Stuart Gordon movie.
Yeah.
So he works incredibly well. Again, here and there, some of the acting is spotty, but it's not atrocious by any means. So, again, I don't get why people make a big stink about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain about any of the acting, really. Like you said, it's just things you freaking accept.
It's like a B movie acting, but not a bad B movie. It's just like, come on, guys, and not everybody can be fucking Daniel Day-Lewis. It's not gonna happen.
Plus, certain people have accents, and you have to put those into account too.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever.
Another thing that it does kind of mar the movie is that there is some use of CGI where there really shouldn't have been. You know what I'm saying? It's a small use of it. But it always made me scratch my head because Fantastic Factory didn't really lean on that. They really focused on physical effects. And this movie has a lot of physical effects. It's mostly physical effects. So there's these CGI sequences that are like, why'd you put that there? That's weird.
I think
like CGI blood drifting in the water. CGI water. That's not convincing. CGI underboats. The tentacles... you forgive that because where else are they going to get a huge tentacled god but and they look fine, serviceable. But then there's like some people that have tentacles, and there's a character that has tentacle legs, and they're CGI, and they could have shot around that. You know what I'm saying? So you question some of the choices with the CGI. Was it a thing that they pushed for? Was it not? I don't know. But it's not good CGI. We're gonna be honest. But again, the movie's so. If you're a fan of Lovecraft, the movie hits so many right notes that that's not really something that you should really care about. But it is something that, on a technical level, I mean, we can't lie and say some pretty good CGI.
I think the only ones that I thought were stanky and confusing were the ones with that one dream with the mer lady, and the tentacles come out. I was like, oh man. And then like the underboat, which I had actually forgotten about. The underboat looks pretty bad. The like the tentacle legs, that only happens once, thankfully, and it is a little odd.
Yeah, but you see what I'm getting at, though?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They didn't need that shot. They had achieved.
I guess they wanted to show her like lunge or something.
Yes,
but
it was bad looking, is what I'm getting at, and they didn't need it. And for somebody as talented as Gordon, you'd be like, shoot around that. We got that. We know that her legs are tentacles. We don't need to see pant tentacles. It looked like pants, is what I'm getting at. But the point is, they feel unnecessary in a movie that's mostly physical effects.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna be fair, the CGI in this movie stinks. But thankfully, it doesn't ruin the movie. So there's that. Let me think. Jesus, what the hell? Okay, well, let's move on to whatever you want to say, positive or negative. Hit me with something.
I think the whole movie's basically just like a chase, with fake Jeffrey Combs getting chased by these townspeople that are creepy, and that could get tiring if it's any other movie. But I think it kind of works here, and I never once was like, dude, just get to the point. So, yeah, that's something that I would praise.
It works because it keeps to the structure of the story, and the structure of the story evokes an air of mystery.
Yeah.
Even as this chase goes on, which it is exciting, you're kind of discovering who this guy is and why he's really there. And that's why this movie should be lauded, because that's kind of why the story works. It's not so much the strength of the character in the story, none really. It's the fact that you, the reader, are discovering his past with him as he is being chased. So yeah I mean, that works excellently here. And of course, Gordon and company elaborate on those concepts in some pretty fantastic ways. This movie has sequences that make you wish they had more money to have really hit this out of the ballpark. Now that sounds like they just fucking fucked up and there's just a few good parts. No, again, this is a very solid movie, but there's even more solid portions in the movie that make you go, damn. A good example is when the town drunk, which is not it's fish people, okay? In case you don't know the story, basically fish people. But anyway, that all worship this ancient deity. I mean, if you've never read Lovecraft, that's what that story is about. But so the town drunk, he's not a fish person, so to speak, and he relates the tale of what happened to Imboka, and that particular flashback sequence is fucking brilliant. It's awesome. It's literally like, it's one of those payoffs that you're like, I'm glad I waited. This movie could have fucking sucked my nuts, and if that section was in there, it would have been a reason to buy the movie. That particular section really stands out. It still holds up pretty damn wonderfully. There's other portions too in the movie where they really stand out in a movie that already is pretty impressive. So yeah, I mean, that's just something. I don't know. I mean, it says a lot about the effort put into it. That had there been more of, I don't know if the funding would have done it, but more of something production-wise, this thing could have clicked 100%. But as it is, it clicks, say, 98%, which ain't a bad number to have. But anyway, hit me with something else.
I think there's some cool music tunes in this.
Music tunes?
I'm thinking specifically or mainly in that flashback where it just has really good music.
Yeah.
Creepy. And it happens a couple times, in the movie throughout, but that's really is the standout musically is that flashback.
Yeah, the flashback has an incredible score, but yes, the rest of it is atmospheric and I don't know, the score feels like vibrant and alive, almost dirty at times. But yeah, the standout again, yeah, you're right, is that particular sequence because it does take a different sound, almost like a tribal by the way of something else. You know what I'm saying? Which gives it a very distinct flavor. Think drums and rhythmic beats, only not in any familiar way. Which, I mean, that speaks Lovecraft, something that you can't quite grasp. So that's cool, man, that they managed to conjure up a sound that was so original. So, yes, I also like to point out that though this movie is draped in darkness, that works wonders for it. One, because it hides any potential, shit that might be on screen. For lack of better words.
Yeah.
Not everybody could be a cool looking fish man. Let's just say that.
Yeah, there's a couple just fat
a bunch,
guys, yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of pale people in big overcoats.
Yeah.
But they're given attributes here and there that you could see, like big fucking fishy eyes or gills or wonky ass hands or of course the guy with the gimpy ass tentacle leg.
I was about to say everybody in this movie seems to have the stanky leg, a serious case of it.
And you mean the dance, not
yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so not everybody can be the hero zombie in a zombie movie.
Yeah.
You gotta have your weirdo guys that are just people, actually.
Yeah.
It's just Fred in the background. So this movie's full of Freds, but since the movie's shot in it's overcast all the time. It's always raining. It's dark. It's wet. It's just a yucky looking movie. They don't have to have the hero. It's more an implied, like that these fuckers are fucked up.
And I think just to add to that, because it falls in line with another pro, they make all these weird ass sounds, which kind of just help out with the fact that you're seeing a bunch of Freds, like you said, but also it makes you kind of think of stuff.
Yeah,
that's creepier than what they can deliver.
Yeah, really, and not that. When they deliver, the movie delivers quite well. The hero, if you will, creatures, they're used sparingly but well, and they're good to look at. They're awesome to look at times, but except for those pant tentacles, man, I can't get over the pant tentacles. But yeah, man, the sound design in this does a lot, except for apparently where I was sitting with this particular Blu-ray, but. Of course, I've seen this movie countless times, and you're right. There's the sounds of the townspeople are pervasive throughout the place, in dark corners, and whenever people are talking amidst them, so you never are not surrounded by the sounds of the townspeople, waiting, seeing, peeking, and it's all very in line with the way Lovecraft wrote the people of Innsmouth. So awesome. Of course, the biggest change from the book to the movie is. Not all these superficial changes that people bitch about, but the ending, it's there, but they don't tack on the implications of, the government getting involved in all that stuff, which I think honestly is better for this particular fare right here. And they do expound upon the cult, or in this case, as they're known, the esoteric Order of Dagon. They do expound upon that a lot more. Visually and otherwise, which I think is an awesome addition. And they don't do it too early. They don't bust their load too early. They, again, do it in line with the character discovering more and more of the town. So the way they unravel that keeps you interested as the movie goes along. Again, an excellent choice. Gordon knows how to handle a small budget. Even again, as I say, I don't know what the fucking CGI thing was. I don't get why they had to use
really
that.
hung up on the CGI.
It's bad. It's just bad, and it has no reason to be there. As limited as it is, it has no reason to be there. I don't understand why he would do that. But like I said, 98% of the movie, he's like on high gear. This is easily his best Lovecraftian movie. Period. I mean, it just is. And I don't know if he's ever gonna make another one, but this would be the one to beat. And so you could tell he put everything that he could into it, given how little he had to put into it, and it's all on screen. So I guess another thing to praise would be the locations, the set design, the costuming, and all, and the effects.
Yeah,
it's all fucking amazing, given the limitations. Like, how did they do all that with such little?
The whole town
money?
as a whole, really.
Yeah, it's really, really stunning. And again, the fact that they filmed this, in Spain and all that stuff, I'm sure it helped. That's why Usna moved over there, so that they could work their ways around with budgets a lot easier than you do in America. But unlike someone like Uwe Boll, he didn't want to just get fucking money out of it. He cares about which again is another reason to praise Usna. He gives a shit about horror, and he doesn't care if it's hammy. He doesn't care if it's legitimately great. He just wants horror to be a thing, and I appreciate that. And and I'm sure Gordon had the most liberty he's had probably in his career with this movie. Probably
creatively,
yeah, creatively. So, and it shows, man. There's a lot of passion on the screen. And that trumps anything. It reminds me of like John Milius with Conan the Barbarian. He didn't have good actors. He didn't have a massive budget. But man, he made a memorable movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how this thing is, He had what he had, and boy, did he make it work. And it works. Balls deep. Anyway, give me something else if you got it.
I think you hit everything.
Yeah, just like hit that G spot.
Yeah, damn. I will
yours
say,
that is.
Yeah. I will say, I just wanna look, there's a couple CG shots that work. Mainly environmental, in that kind of when they're swimming up to the thing. That's CG and it looks alright. It's not too quaky. But yeah, the fish pants, I get it.
Fish pants are bad, dude.
I understand.
Like, if you think, you just gotta think about this like outside of the love for the movie. I'm trying to be fair in these reviews, increasingly so. And if we're gonna be fucking fair, those CGI tentacle legs are fucking bad, and there is absolutely no reason that shot should have been in there.
Let me counter that.
All right.
I get why he would put that in there, because it is kind of a moment where the chick's going after him, and it's kind of if pulled off right, it would have been a cool shot. Dude's on fire, she's going after him. Would have been a cool shot. Unfortunately, fish pants.
Yes.
So at that point, Stuart should have been like, you know what, cut this out, because
I'm hoping he didn't know what the quality of the effect was going to be. But the fact that there's not that many CGI shots makes me think that maybe he did. The point is, there's 100,000 million ways to shoot around that and still, give the same impression.
Yeah.
Urgency, cool. See her crawling. We've seen others crawl in the movie. We know what that means. Their legs are jacked. They got the fishy leg.
The stanky leg.
The stanky leg. And then cut to close-ups of physical tentacles as they move and glide. And then the final shot of her jumping off with a fucking, maybe there you could throw the final shot, a little CGI tenty. But no, they went full tentacle in this one. It's like going full retard. You just don't.
It was supposed to be like a shocking moment, but really it was shocking for the wrong reason.
Yes,
to
very,
you apparently.
very bad CGI. Yeah. But again, that sounds like I'm ragging on it, but no, I'm just trying to be fair. Sometimes it helps to know that that's going to be there, so that when it happens, if you've never seen the movie, you're like, oh, well, it's going to be there. So I can now just watch the movie, and that's not going to shock me when I see it like, what the? CGI pants? But it's not pants, but you know what I mean. But anyway.
I'm not going to lie, though. Dagon seems like a pretty cool guy. Also, that chick's pretty hot. I would have just been like, hell yeah.
That means nothing to anyone. What chick?
The freaking pants chick. Tentacled pants.
So you would totally sell your soul to a hideous god that has no interest in you.
Yeah.
Just to bone?
Pretty much. Oh, he's not gonna bone me.
He's gonna bone you, dude. He was in everybody. He was inside everybody.
True. Yeah, but that chick was pretty hot.
So there you go. Sell your soul for a jelly roll.
Then again, she would be my sister, so that wouldn't be cool.
Yeah, it's not cool at all.
Damn. Anyway,
Makes sense though.
yeah.
But anyway, give me final thoughts and the final score again relative to the films of its ilk. Give it to me on a scale of 1 to 10, of course.
It has a unique feeling, the movie. That, yeah, even though sometimes you can see it's... I will say that it's like you said, it's very impressive for the limitations.
Uh-huh.
But you do notice them here and there. But, it's one of those that kind of will... Hopefully, at least, will leave an impression with you, as it did me. And I was like, hell yeah, Dagon's a cool guy. That being said, I'll give it a strong... I guess I'll take some off for the freaking CG pants.
You don't have to. This is your fucking opinion.
Alright, then, at that point, I'll give it a 9.
Really, that's an erroneous rating given the CGI pants. I was just saying that, but...
CGI pants into effect, it's a 1, dude.
Okay, so you give it a 9? Alright, yes, easily Stuart Gordon's best Lovecraftian movie. I'd argue it's in his best movies, period. But, of course, Stuart Gordon has tons of great movies. And it's kind of hard to pick a favorite one. If I were just going on my pure... off my pure pleasure nodes,
Robot
being
Jocks?
tickled, it would, definitely be Robot Jocks. Or that bed one. I think it was called like Deathbed or some shit.
What the shit?
It went good, but anyway, he's just made so many good movies and so many memorable movies. But yeah, again, if I just have to go off my personal pleasure, all nostalgia and all that jazz, Dagon would be my pick. Period. And he's easily one of my favorite horror directors. So there you have it. An impressive feat, given all that was in play here, and a movie that should be regarded a lot better than it is. I still don't understand why people lash out against it so much. I mean, don't get me wrong, it has a following, but it's just something that boggles my mind. Like, why? Are you just got something up your ass that bad, or I don't get it, man. And it's always in these HP Lovecraft groups and
That explains it.
forums and all that shit.
Bunch
Like
of fools.
people are just like, yeah, it's a piece of shit.
Is this Lovecraftian? It's
Give me a
picture
good-
of a giraffe.
Yes, give me a good Lovecraft movie. It's not that many, so you're gonna throw this one under the bus. But
Yeah.
anyway, whatever. Don't listen to those fools. This is a damn good film. It definitely overcomes its shortcomings, and most importantly, it works with your imagination, and yet gives you this plethora of visual. I don't know, man. Fucking. I don't know. What would you call it? Like
AIDS.
visual aids?
Yeah, as in a visual aid, not a visual as in HIVs. Because it doesn't...
I'm gonna let you die on that cross.
It doesn't overdo it. You're never desensitized to tenties.
It gives you a lot to chew on the visual level, but it never overplays its hand. It still lets the imagination work overtime, and the more that's how Lovecraft works best.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's exactly how Lovecraft worked. He fed you so much with his elaborate eloquence that it should have overstuffed you and killed you on the spot, but somehow it just makes you devour these images that he creates, and that's what Stuart Gordon does here.
Yeah, he just gives you a few visual aids.
Yeah, he gives you a visual feast.
Bring that back.
And yet your mind still craves more, and then works into those little gaps and goes, wow, this is fascinating. So that's an achievement on its own. I love this movie. I guess I have to sit in the proper seat to love this Blu-ray. But look, it's out there. It's available. Get it.
Really, the picture's insanely clear.
Yeah, I could have been better picture, but you know what? I mean, it's a good ass picture.
Very clear.
Yeah. So get this, snatch it up before it's rare, and then they charge you $10 grillion for some fucking reason. What is the secondary market? But anyway,
douches.
Let us know what you think about this picture if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, let us know also. If you haven't read the story, read the story, then watch the movie, and see how you can change things and then still make something that's fiercely loyal to the material. Let us know what you think about it. Hit like, share, subscribe, and the notification button. Go be around.
Man.